All right, y'all. Um, just some random shit I want to talk about. Me and my friend just got off the phone, and I was like, you know what? I need to record that because that's some good shit. Anyway, basically, I told him I was gonna upload a video on YouTube every Tuesday because I uploaded my first video on YouTube on Tuesday, and I've had a whole bunch of stuff going on between Tuesday and today. Today's Thursday. I was making music. I got another job. Just a whole bunch of productive shit that I've been doing versus laying in bed all day depressed. Because sometimes that's happened in my life. But that being said, in my head I was like, I wonder what day it is because I can't let Tuesday pass without uploading my next YouTube video. So I checked and it said Thursday, and I was like, how is it only Thursday? It feels like it's already been like 5-6 days. And then it clicked to me. It's like the busier you get, the more time slows down. And I said that to my friend, and he goes, well, I feel the exact opposite. And then I thought to myself, well, yeah, that is typically how most people feel when you're at work and it's hella slow. Time moves by, it's dragging ass, but whenever it gets busy, time seems to fly by, right? I get that. I agree with that. I feel that same way. Here's what I'm talking about, though, because this is a little bit different. I experienced this, I've probably experienced it many times in my life, but I didn't realize what I was experiencing until I was on LSD one day, and I was watching Wreck-It Ralph with my friend after having one of the worst trips. Anybody who's done LSD kind of knows like where your mind goes, how much more heightened your senses tend to become. And so you're absorbing a lot more information. I realized while I was watching Wreck-It Ralph how much time is dictated by the moments in which we experience things. So like we break things down into moments, and oftentimes that's how we see what time looks like. Because basically that's what memory is. It's time encapsulated. So I'll tell you how I figured it out with Wreck-It Ralph. With Wreck-It Ralph, we were watching the show, or the movie, and there would be a scene that would happen. And it would be like this huge thing to me because I'm on LSD, so like senses heightened, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, like there was a lot of information in that. They like really conveyed and put out a really good message there. Or I would have a moment where me and my friend are dying laughing about something funny that happened in the movie, whereas we typically wouldn't be laughing that hard if we weren't tripping. Or, you know, something sad happens and we're extra sad. So it's like, and I realized when I looked back on that memory, so like say you fast forward a week and then you look back on that memory, most people are going to think to themselves, and they're going to recall the memory in a way of like, hey, remember when we watched Wreck-It Ralph last week? Yeah, that was a fun time. That's it. It's like that was a moment. The whole movie was a moment. Versus you're tripping, you had a moment where you were dying laughing harder than you've probably ever laughed. You had a moment where you're like, dang, this is probably the saddest I've ever been from a kid's TV show. Then you had a moment where you had a deep realization about, you know, the dialogue that was being displayed. And so rather than looking back in a week and saying, you remember when we watched Wreck-It Ralph, you'd probably say something like, hey, you remember last week when we watched Wreck-It Ralph and this happened? And then you'll switch it over to, and then remember when that happened? You know, you'll have like more things to talk about because there was more moments that you encapsulated in your mind as a moment. That being said, I realized, like with the uploading a video every week thing, the reason why it felt like it had been 5-6 days is because I've been so productive between Tuesday and today that usually what I would get done in a week, I got done in 2 days. So it's like my biological clock, whatever we tend to like intuitively think it is, because you can ask anybody like, oh, you know, like if they're not paying attention to the week, what day is it? You know, some people might be like, they might think a whole bunch of days have passed, they might think a few days have passed. I feel like that's largely dictated by the newness of the moment they're experiencing. Not only that, but how emotionally impactful it is, or how exciting it is, how memorable it is because of how intense it is. Usually, whether it's intense pain, you're probably gonna remember that shit. If it's intense sadness, you're probably gonna remember that shit. If it's intense happiness, you're probably gonna remember that shit. So if you have intense situations throughout your life, or like I said, new experiences, it's gonna break them down into more moments for you to remember when you look back in time. It's gonna be like, dang, I did all this. And then you're gonna think maybe a week's passed because you did all this, and you typically wouldn't have done all that in 2 days, but you just did. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I lost my train of thought. Luckily, I could just edit this out. That's what I was gonna add. So basically, if all I've been sitting there doing is laying in bed all week, doing the same shit, hardly having any new experiences, I'm probably gonna encapsulate that as a moment. When I step into the future, say a month from now, I'll think about that week and be like, yeah, I remember that week when I was sitting there bored as fuck, or hella depressed, or whatever it was, where I wasn't doing a bunch of new shit or productive shit or intense shit, whether it be intensely happy, sad, mad, whatever emotion you want to add to intensity. So yeah, basically, if you want to like stretch your life out a little bit more and feel like you're getting more out of life, you need to do more in life. Not only will you achieve more by doing more, you'll feel like life isn't passing you by so fast. Because it's not like you're going to look back on last year and think to yourself, yeah, I remember last year all I really did was lay in bed and play video games. And the only thing outside of that was I went to work to maintain bills. Like, because that's all people do sometimes. And then your memories aren't going to be like, it's going to feel like that year just flew by. Versus like, imagine that same year, rather than playing video games all day, every day. So it's like you don't even have like these specific moments you can pull up as memories. Because it's all the same shit. And it's all just you playing a fucking video game. You might have the few times throughout those video game times you were playing in the year where it was like something crazy happened. But how many times can something crazy and new happen while doing the same shit? So imagine that same year you traveled to Dubai for the first time. The very month after that, you traveled to the pyramids. 2 weeks later, you went to Asia for the first time. 2 weeks after that, you went skydiving for the first time. 2 weeks after that, you enrolled into the college that you've been wanting to get into. Imagine what that year is going to be like when you look back on it and think about the speed of that year. It's not going to feel like it went by fast. It's going to be like, holy shit, I did all that? How did I do all that in 1 year? Especially when you compare it to a prior year where you weren't doing shit. You want to get more out of life, you got to put more into life. That's just what it is. Anyway, I'll be doing these rants a little bit more. What the fuck is on my TV? Oh, I forgot we got Hulu on ads again, y'all. Cause niggas is broke. No, this isn't even my Hulu. Look at my mess. Jesus. Anyway, y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, all that fun shit, yada yada. I'll be back.